Perfect. Perfect. Thank you. All right. So as everyone can see, basically assuming that you have already created a Rayyan account, this is what you will encounter in the homepage. You will see two sections, the active reviews section and the archived reviews section. In terms of active reviews, with the free and the student version, you are only limited to have three owned active reviews at once. So as you can see, I have these three owned active reviews. If I were to use this student or the free version, this is my limit. So in order to create a fourth review or restore one of the archived reviews, I will need to upgrade to a professional membership. You will be able to be invited to as many reviews as you can, of course, taking into consideration the limitation per the owner's active reviews. Additionally, any review you do not access, you or your team members, you do not access within a timestamp of 30 days will be automatically archived. And you can find all of the archived reviews under the archived reviews section. With the right permission, you'll be able to restore them. Of course, by archiving the review, no data will be harmed. All your data will remain intact. All right. So first thing first, I need to create a review. I can click here. Now you'll be able to see the prompt to create that review. Let's call it my systematic review demo session 3. Then we'll be able to choose the type of review we are conducting, in which it will not affect or give you access to certain functionalities or features. It will only be there for further identification of that review you're conducting. So you can choose out of these options. Let's say we're conducting a systematic review in the biomedical domain. You can as well add a description to further identify this review. Once you're done, click Create New Review, and you will be taken to the second step of uploading articles. Now, your articles must be obtained from external databases, as Rayyan is not an open source, so you can't use Rayyan to search for such articles. So you need to, for example, access PubMed, Web of Science, etc., obtain these references, save them on your local desktop, and then you will be able to upload them into Rayyan in one of the supported formats. As you can see, Rayyan supports various types of formats, in which you can click here on Help Center, which will take you to the Help Center article regarding which supported formats are compatible with Rayyan, and you will find example files that you can download and compare them with your own files. Next, you will be able to upload up to 10 files at once with the maximum file size of 100 megabyte. So if you have a file that is larger than 100 megabyte, you will need to split the references within that file into multiple files so that you are able to upload them all at once. Let's select the files from my local desktop. I have 2 files I want to upload, as well as I have taken an extra step in renaming the files based on which database I have obtained them from. Once you're done, just click on Continue. You'll notice the uploading progress bar at the bottom right here. Once it's done, you will be able to continue to the third step of inviting members. Of course, if you are working alone, there's no need for inviting members, so you can skip that part. But if you're working along team members, you need to enter their email addresses, separated with a comma for multiple entries, and then specify the role you would like to provide for that member. Just a heads up, the collaborator role is turning into a paid role. So with a premium membership, you'll be able to invite unlimited amount of collaborators. But with the free version, you will only be able to invite members as reviewers or viewers, in which it differs in terms of permissions, what a user can access with these roles, even if you have a subscription. So for example, if you invite a member as a viewer, they will only have access to that review in terms of viewing the work without the ability to take any action. A reviewer will be able to contribute in the screening stage. So you can invite members to help you in the screening stage, so they can vote to include or exclude articles, assign reasons and notes or labels for further clarification on their decisions, as well as use filters in order to filter out articles based on each filter. However, if you invite a member as a collaborator, collaborators will be able to access basically all stages of your review. So they can basically contribute in the deduplication phase, they can resolve duplicates, they can import and export references, they can as well use premium features depending on their membership level. So if you invite a collaborator with a membership, they will be able to access, for example, Prisma, Auto Resolver, etc., all premium features within your review. However, if you are as the owner has a subscription, this subscription cannot be passed on members who gets invited to your review. All right, so let's specify the collaborator role and then invite, in which we will be taken to the overview page of that recently created review. Now, as you can see, the Rayyan has recognized 640 references out of the 2 files we have imported, in which it is stated right here in the data summary section. As you can see in the overview page, you will be able to see the review information, in which you can, as the owner, edit the review info at any time and change it. As the owner as well, you will be able to invite more members, turn the blinding from on to off. Basically, any review you create by default will be blind on. When blinding is on, any decision customizations by all members will be hidden from each other in the effort of eliminating the risk of bias. So this way, users will not be influenced by each other's decisions. Thus, all the decisions will be without any bias. We'll be back for Prisma diagram, which is a premium feature, and you can identify premium features by this specific icon. So if you see this icon next to any feature, it means it's a premium functionality or feature. And of course, from the settings right here, you can archive or delete the review. Moving forward, as I mentioned, you can see that in the data summary, it is stating how many references we were able to import. So the total is 640. You can add more references at any time, as well as detect the duplicates, resolve them, and see your results. I will leave resolving the duplicates and anything related to duplicates in the review data stage where exactly the possible duplicate facet is found. Next, you can find the review members section, in which you can switch the role of each member depending on the privileges or permissions you would like to provide access for that member, as well as revoking or deleting the member's access. Revoking a member will stop their access. They will no longer access that review. However, all their customizations, decisions, or any contribution will retain intact, so you will be able to see all of their work. However, deleting a member will delete all their decisions alongside their access. And lastly, you can see the screening summary, in which you will be able to track down your progress, complete screening by clicking on Start Screening, so you will be able to see your results from screening. If you want to be able to see the data session for yourself, how many minutes you have spent on this review, how many sessions you have spent, you will need to upgrade to a student membership. Now you will be able as well to see the team progress. All team members will be listed right here with the role and how many decisions they are left to take. Of course, it will show also a percentage, as well as any conflicts that arises will be listed right here. For the data session for each team member to be able to see it, you will need a professional membership or higher. So for example, for yourself, you will need a student membership. You will be able to track down your data session. However, to track down the data session of each team member, you will need a professional membership or higher. Lastly, you can add your own inclusion or screening criteria, the inclusion or exclusion one. All you need to do is type in the criteria, for example, randomized trials as an inclusion criteria, in which you can, as you can see, edit or remove it. Similarly to exclusion criteria, let's say controlled trials. Now, the feature of the criteria for now is not connected to AI capabilities, so there is no AI features that is tied with this specific criteria. For now, it works as a self-reminder or a reminder for your team on the criteria, the screening criteria that you have agreed and set. All right, so let's move to the review data stage now, in which, as it's called, we need to review the data, make it ready before the screening part. It's always recommended to obtain all references you need, upload them and input them into your review. Start by resolving all the duplicates so that you are only left with unique references to screen. Once you are done with resolving the duplicates, you'll be able to complete the screening progress. This is the recommended way of using Rayyan. Of course, some users would like to obtain references, complete screening, go back, obtain more references, upload them, detect duplicates, continue screening, but this workflow might end up in data corruption in terms of resolving the duplicates, in terms of losing screened articles instead of articles that were never screened. So this is why in Rayyan we always recommend you to resolve all duplicates, obtain all references, resolve their duplicates, and then start your screening progress. Now in the review data stage, let's collapse the filters workbench for now. As you can see, all articles are listed in title-only view. So if you want to see the abstract, the journal type, etc., all information regarding the article, all you need to do is double-click on it, and voila, you will be able to see all the information regarding each article, in which you can as well use the arrow keys to navigate forward and backwards throughout the articles. You can start, as you are reviewing the data, to provide labels for these articles. For example, this article contains a lot of statistics that is really important in my research. So I'm going to add a label as statistics. Now this label, once it's added, you will notice once any label is assigned to any article, the label will be available for future use on different articles, as well as it will be added to the filters workbench so that you will be able to filter out articles that were assigned that specific label. As you can see, if I click on statistics now, it will show me all articles that were assigned that specific label. Similarly, you can use notes. So you can add your note up to 1000 characters per note. Let's say you have a really important information to add for this article, so you can type it in as a note. Let's say my note for testing purposes. Now, notes cannot be filtered similarly to labels. However, you'll be able to view the note from outside the article, or double-clicking on it, click on the note, it will take you down to the note where it is applied, in which you can edit or remove the note at any time. Now, if you want to view articles in title and abstract view, all you need to do is navigate to the review settings right here, switch it to title and abstract view. Now you'll be able to see the title is listed on the left with the abstract and all information on the right. For our users, we provided personalization settings in which you can change the theme depending on your preference. And of course, it will depend on the membership level. So with the free version, you are able to use the light and color blind modes. But for the premium version, you'll be able to use the dark mode. Additionally, with the free version or any type of subscription, you will be able to increase or decrease the font size based on your own preferences. Let's go back to title only view, and let's start resolving the duplicates by detecting them first. So let's click Detect Duplicates, confirm. The system will take a couple of seconds until it finds all possible duplicates by reading and understanding the metadata of references uploaded compared with each article, provide you with the versions of possible duplicates. Now you can see we have imported a total of 640 references from these two files. The system was able to detect 148 duplicates. So in order to resolve them, I need to filter by unresolved by clicking on it, as you can see. Now it's only showing the unresolved duplicates with a similarity percentage rate comparing, for example, this specific version that it has 100% similarity rate with another version of possible duplicates. You can scroll down the list, as you can see all references, and then there are basically two ways to deal with the duplicates. With the free version, you are able to resolve the duplicates manually. All you need to do is select one of these duplicates, click Resolve Duplicates. Now it'll be shown the articles side by side. And as you can see, it's comparing article number 1 with article number 2 out of 3 possible duplicates within the same group. So this is the first version, which is 1. This is the second version, which is 2 out of 3. Let's scroll down to see they are in fact duplicates. You can also note from which reference file it has been uploaded. Let's say we are keeping this one on the left, which is article number 1. So I can click Keep Left. The system will delete the one on the right, and this will jump to compare the version 1 with version 3. Similarly, I'm going to keep the one on the left. Now we have finished resolving all the possible duplicates within that group, so the system have jumped to the second group of possible duplicates. Now, in the case, let's say, or before we head into this case, let me show you what happened. So what we were able to do manually is delete two versions of this duplicate and maintain only one as resolved as it is unique references. Now, this unique reference will be part of our screening. However, the two deleted versions are no longer available in our review, in which you can notice it from the total number of references available for screening after deduplication, in which we have imported a total of 640 references, minus the two deleted duplicates, will result in the total number of unique references left for screening. All right, so again, with the manual deduplication, you're able to select one of these articles, click resolve, and again, you will be shown the articles side by side so that you are able to compare each version with its other version and also compare, you need to compare all combinations of duplicates. Now, in the case that these articles, for example, are not duplicates, I can click on Keep Both Articles, in which the system will now consider Article 1 and 2 as unique references. Jump to compare 1 with 3 now. Let's say 1 and 3 are also are also duplicates, not duplicates, so I'm going to keep both. But when I came to 2 and 3, there are duplicates. So I'm keeping the one on the left, the system will delete the one on the right. Now, since I maintained two articles instead of one, notice what happened. One article was completely deleted, the other was considered as not duplicate, so it has yet retained in our screening progress, and the third one has been resolved. So we have this version available. Additionally, the ones that are considered as not duplicates available, however, the deleted ones remain deleted. Now, for premium users, you are able to semi-automate the way of resolving and dealing with these duplicates by using the auto-resolver. Of course, you need to review the articles. For example, review these articles. I noticed that the authors field is available in all the duplicates. I'm going to use authors as part of my criteria. Additionally, I will use similarity percentage rate and the title. So this is, or the DOI. So let's click on auto resolve. First thing first, I need to choose the duplicate best version to keep from which files. So you can keep it blank or choose one of these files to maintain and take priority in maintaining them. And the system will consider the other. For example, if you have two duplicates, one version available in PubMed, the other in Web of Science, if I selected Web of Science, this duplicate that is part of Web of Science file will retain, and the system will consider the one from PubMed removed or resolved. Now, I'm going to choose out of the 7 options the criteria I would like to resolve the duplicates in. So in my example, I have found that title, authors, and let's say year with the article similarity percentage rate would result in the most accurate resolution. Now, what happens is it will work only on exact matches. Any slight difference in formatting, any slight difference in a field missing, data missing, it will not resolve the duplicate. It must be an exact match. Also, in terms of formatting, for example, if you have two titles with the same exact information and same exact text, the formatting is different, however. Since the article on the left, let's say, contains punctuation, capital letters, the article on the right does not contain any punctuation or capital letters. If I were to resolve these duplicates by title, this specific combination will not be resolved since these articles are not an exact match. But how can I resolve this issue? I can scroll down to the auto-resolver settings and enable the text normalization from here, in which it will convert all uppercase letters to lowercase letters, and it will ignore punctuations in order to unify the formatting of the text. Thus, in our example, these articles will be resolved. Now, in this combination, the system will take into consideration first title. If it passes as an exact match, it will move to authors. If it passes year, if it passes, of course, taking into consideration the 97% similarity rate, If all criteria has been met, it will resolve duplicates. One of the criteria has not been met, it will not resolve duplicates. So you might need to use the autoresolver multiple times until you have defined the best criteria you can use. From the threshold, it's always recommended to choose 95% or above in order to not lose articles which are false positives. Sometimes you can find high similarity rate between articles in terms of being duplicates, but they are in fact not duplicates. So this is why ensure to use 95% or higher. Now let's resolve the duplicate based on this criteria. Let's see what happens, how many duplicates will be resolved. So the system was able to resolve almost 103 duplicates. Now we are left with 40. I can go again. For example, this time I'm going to resolve duplicates by DOI only. And just for your information, always make sure to keep the article customization protection enabled, as it will completely protect all articles or all references you have already screened or customized. It will prioritize the deletion of the articles versions that have not been touched yet. So make sure if you have screened articles to always keep this enabled. Let's see how it goes with DOI. And of course, at last, you will end up resolving duplicates by hand manually, since some duplicates will be hard to resolve using the autoresolver. So we are left with 25 possible duplicates now. We can complete it manually and go back to the manual way of dealing with these duplicates. Now, let's say we are done with resolving all the duplicates, so our data is ready for screening. Now, I can jump to the screening stage. Now, in the screening stage, there are two methods to complete screening, depending if you are working alone or if you are working on a collaborative review with other team members. Working alone will allow you to just start the screening progress using all features and functionalities in Rayyan, such as the filters workbench. You can filter out articles based on specific keywords, based on authors, based on a journal, based on search methods, etc. Now, in a collaborative review, it's always recommended to distribute the work among team members before starting the screening progress. How can I do it? So with the introduction of the samples feature, you can create samples and you can assign these samples to members in order for them to work only on their own sample. Now this have a lot of benefits and goals that it can achieve with. But first, you need to understand that with the samples feature, with the free version, you are only allowed to create one sample per review. If you are using any type of plan, other plan, a premium plan, you'll be able to create unlimited amount of samples. In the samples, you are able to choose the data source. So you can choose all the references you have imported, or you can filter out articles, let's say control trial, as a keyword for include, and then create the sample out of the filtered results. But in my case, since we are a team of, for example, let's say we are a team of 3 people, I want to create 3 samples. I want random allocation of these articles on samples, and I want equal distribution of the articles. For example, I want the workload of articles to be equally distributed among each member. So I'm going to keep the setting randomized, but you can go by sequence if you want, either by reference ID, title, etc. It will only go by sequence of the articles. If you choose randomized, it will randomly allocate articles to the created samples. You always must use 100% or less of the total number of articles allocated to your samples. So for example, in my case, we are a team of 3 people. I'm creating 3 samples. You can name the samples with the initials of each member to further identify which sample they should be working on. Then you can choose the percentage. So you can go equally, 33% for each, and then allocate the remaining 1% as number of articles. Or you can, for example, 20% for sample 1, 30 for 2, 50 for 3. And as you can see, number of articles will be assigned accordingly, depending on the percentage. However, I want equal allocation, so I'm going to go 33 for each, leaving us with only 1% not allocated, which totals basically to 5 articles not allocated. So I can change the number of articles to be allocated for each sample accordingly. So let's say 186, 186, and 186. Now, since I cannot have more than 100%, I need to adjust it to 185. This way, if we combine and the total of these numbers, it will result in 557, which is the total number of possible references we are able to use. Now create it. Once the samples are created, you can search for them in the filters workbench using sample. And then you need each member to filter by their own sample each time they access the screening stage. However, there is no automatic way of assigning these samples. All you can do is reach out to each member using email exchange or any other social media mean, or you can use the review chat. For example, reviewer 1, which is me, the owner, I will screen sample 1. Reviewer 2, screen sample 2. Reviewer 3, screen sample 3. Now, if we were a team of 6 people and I want pairs to be screening each sample, so I can inform each 2 members to screen 1 sample. Now, additionally, another goal that the samples can achieve is if you want each article to be screened twice as a minimum requirement or as a maximum requirement as well. So I need each article to be screened twice in order for me to accept these articles. Since each member will be assigned 1 sample when we are a team of 3, so reviewer 1 screened sample 1, reviewer 2 finished screening sample 2, and reviewer 3 finished screening sample 3. Always make sure that blinding is on. Now, once each member has screened their own sample, you can go back as the owner and inform each member to screen the other's sample. So now reviewer 1 screen sample 2, reviewer 2 screen sample 3. Alternatively, this is the simplest way to adjust the number of articles to be screened. So now each member, once they are done with their own sample, they can go and finish screening the other's sample, in which we are assuring that each article have been screened twice by 2 different members with a random and equal allocation of articles to eliminate the risk of bias among team members. Now, once everyone is done with their screening part, you can turn off the blinding as the owner in order to resolve conflicts. I'll be showing that in a bit. But for now, just to give you an idea on how you can screen and accelerate your screening progress with the use of the features. So just quickly, the screening way of or dealing with articles to screen them is that, as you can see, here are the action buttons. So you can click include, exclude, or maybe. There is no undo button, so if you have mistakenly, let's say, excluded an article, the workaround would be select the article, add a label as undecided, and then switch the decision from exclude to maybe. Maybe is not a final decision, it's a tentative decision. So this is why it's really important that you revert the mistakenly assigned decision to maybe and assign a label to further identify it so that you understand that this specific article has not yet been screened, even if it has a maybe decision. You can always use labels or notes to justify your decisions. For exclusion decisions, you can justify them using reasons. So from the predefined list, you can use one of these reasons, in which we provided a predefined list to accelerate the way of screening and choosing a reason. But you can add your own custom reasons. As long as the predefined list is not used, you can see that it will not be available in the filters workbench. So you need to assign a reason, similarly that we have done with labels, in order to find that reason under the filters workbench. Additionally, let's say wrong age as a custom new reason. So I'm going to add it. Now, once it has been assigned, you can find wrong age available in the list of reasons for future use, as well as it will indicate how many articles were assigned that reason, which you can basically filter by that reason. So it will show all articles that were assigned wrong age as a reason. Now, for a faster way to screen, you can use Rayyan keyboard shortcut keys, in which you can view the list, as you can see where I'm navigating, you can see the default list of shortcut keys. For example, include is represented in I on your keyboard. You can customize your experience by upgrading your membership plan in order to customize the shortcut keys based on your preferences. But as a default, if you on your keyboard click I, it will include the article and it will auto scroll to the next one, which is a feature available in the review settings. So I can turn it off. Now, once I take a decision, it will not allow me to scroll to the next one automatically, in which it will require me to go through these articles. Now, M for maybe R to start typing a reason, let's say wrong age, enter to apply. L for labels, let's say statistics, and always make sure to use the same formatting of labels. So if I, again, use statistics, but not a capital letter, as you can see, it will consider it as a no one. All these labels, decisions, and reasons will be hidden from other members while blinding is on. So in order for other team members to see the labels and reasons assigned, you will need to turn off the blinding. And lastly, for notes, you can click N. It will allow you to start typing the note, and then enter to apply. Additionally, C will open your criteria dialog, and F will open and collapse filters. Now, in the filters workbench, it's really important to use these filters, which will accelerate the reviewing the screen progress. For example, these are the keywords for include and keywords for exclude, which are most commonly used keywords in research. You can at any time remove all these keywords and click on the trash icon and add your own custom keywords, which will help you in tracking down articles based on keywords and easily identify them based on highlighting. Keywords for include will be highlighted in green, keywords for exclude in red. Now let's add my own custom keywords. I'm going to add them as numbers just for the case of explanation and showing you a case, and separate each keyword with a comma when you are adding multiple keywords. Now the system will start to calculate how many articles it has found the specific keywords in. So you can see 2 has been found in 111 articles. Now, if you are working with your own sample, make sure to screen by your own sample. So filter by your own sample. This way, I'm filtering by my own sample with the keywords that contain 2. Now, if I use another keyword from the same list, it will trigger an OR operator instead of AND. These operators, Boolean operators, cannot be adjusted or changed. So just for your information, any keyword or any filter you use from or filter any way you filter from the same facet by 2 or more will result in an OR operator. If you are filtering from across facets, for example, we are filtering sample 1 with one of these keywords, it will trigger an AND operator. Now let's take an example. Let's say randomized trial. It is part of our inclusion criteria. So I'm going to include all the articles that are related to randomized trials. I can use the multi-select feature to select them one by one, click on include. With the premium version, you are able to select all the results, which is 8, at once by clicking on the checkbox next to the filter by inclusion facet, and then click on include. It will include all articles that are part of this filter option. So this is also a faster way to screen articles. Now, similarly for keywords for include and exclude, you can use, for biomedical researchers especially, PICO, highlighting, and filters. As you can see, PICO represents population, intervention, outcome, and of course C for comparison, in which in Rayyan, comparison and intervention are added and combined under one facet in order, since they are a lot similar in terms. Now, once PICO filters are available and extracted, you will find them in the filters workbench. The system will try to provide you with the keywords it was able to find by reading the metadata of the references imported. It works in terms, similarly in terms of, for example, the keywords for include and exclude in terms of highlighting and filtering. However, obtaining the data is different. Keywords for include or exclude, you can add your own, you can customize it, you can remove it, etc. But for PICO, since it is extracted, the system was able to find these keywords based on the metadata of references imported, you cannot add or remove any of Pico filters. Now, these filters, as I mentioned, will be highlighted in the text, depending on each element. Population will be represented in purple, outcome in orange, and of course, intervention in indigo. So as you can see, this is a premium functionality and feature based on this specific icon. Now, another really important feature within screening, which will help accelerate your screen progress by providing you insights on articles that were never decided on based on the articles that you have decided on. So it will provide you with ratings based on a machine learning AI. The AI will take into consideration the excluded and included articles that you have already screened. It will need a minimum requirement of 5 at least to be taken from exclude or include, 5 decisions, 5 articles to be included, 5 articles to be excluded as a minimum requirement, with 50 combined between included and excluded also as a minimum requirement. So you have 2 requirements you should fulfill in order to the system to provide you with ratings. So I'm going to do this randomly until we have hit the 50 minimum requirement. Since we have 14 in total between include and exclude, I'm going to take 36 more. Let's see how the system is able to provide us with the ratings. Since I'm doing it randomly, most probably it will not provide accurate ratings, so it will have no important recommendations. Additionally, you can use the ratings feature on multiple occasions on different times based on the screening you do. So for example, if you have 10,000 articles, you can screen 100 of them, enable the ratings feature, complete the continuous screening. After 10 minutes, you are allowed to use the ratings feature again, in which it will adjust the ratings for the undecided articles. Now let's see, we have hit the mark. We have hit all requirements, in which now we have 39 excluded articles plus 12 included articles provide us with 51 in total. So I can now proceed with calculating the ratings for each undecided article. So we can see the ratings has been done. It has finished the job. Now I need to filter by undecided. And I can use the sort function to sort articles based on rating, but you can use any other option as well. So let's see if we have any articles to be included. The system didn't recommend any article to be included, but as you can see, the question mark means no recommendation. Let's see excluded. We can see that there is one article which is represented in 2 thumbs down, which means most likely to exclude. Now, if you see only 1 thumb down, it means likely to exclude, which is less than most likely to exclude. Similarly, for inclusion, 2 thumbs up means most likely to include and will be highlighted in green. And 1 thumb up means likely to include. Now, for example, I can take more decisions and rerun the compute ratings feature, in which it will adjust the decisions based on the newly additions of the decided articles. So it's a machine learning. The more decisions you take, the more you are feeding the AI with information, the more accurate the results will be. And of course, this is available for free. However, the ability to filter by rating to see all articles that were assigned most likely to exclude as a rating or etc., this one will require a premium subscription. Now, once you are done with your screening independently, in a collaborative review, you will need to turn off the blinding in order to see the level of agreement. But if you are working alone, you can just jump to full text screening and then that extraction, which is a phase that is not yet released. We are still working on it, so it's a work in progress. But you can complete full text screening and then leave Rayyan with your results, or you can just obtain your results from screening. For example, I wanted my included list, filter by the included, navigate to the review settings, and then export your references. So I'm going to choose filtered, which is my included. You can choose as well the file format. I want to choose CSV from the list so that I was able to see the articles in Excel sheet, then export. The export file will be sent to your email address in which you can access. Additionally, it will be available in the review chat to download. Now, in terms of collaborative reviews, first I need to turn off the blinding. So even if I turned off the blinding here, nothing will change since no one has worked with me on this review. So let's navigate to another review I have conflicts in. All right, so let's go to screening. Now you can see this is my own independent decisions, 65 excluded, 4 maybe, and 43 included. Let's see what happens when I turn off the blinding, in which the system will combine all decisions from all members and provide you with a list of inclusions. As you can see now we have 49 excluded articles, 13 maybes, and 36 included, which refer to, for example, all members need to be aligned in terms of decisions so that, for example, 2 members have excluded this article, so it will be added to the excluded list. However, if one member assigned a maybe decision, for example, in this one, we have 2 exclusion decisions by 2 members, but 1 member have assigned a maybe decision. It will be available in the maybe list. Now, conflicts, for example, will be appearing if there are 2 decisions by 2 different members which are opposites. So you can see we have 2 decisions from 2 members which are excluded, but 1 member has assigned an included decision. This is a conflict and needs to be resolved. Conflicts cannot be resolved by assigning one person to override decisions from all members. It can only be resolved by reaching a consensus on each article. So you need to reach an agreement whether to include or exclude these articles. Once that consensus is reached, each member should change their decision accordingly. Once each member changed their decision accordingly, each article will fall under the correct list depending on the result. So for example, let's take a simple one. This one, for example, I have excluded the article, but my other colleague has included it. We have discussed and we agreed to include this article. So I need to go back to my account and change my decision to this specific article to include it. Now, once it has been changed, if I refresh the page, this article will no longer be available in the conflict list. It will be added to the final inclusion list, and conflicts will be deducted to 15 conflicts instead of 16, which we had previously. Additional note that you can see this article is a conflicting article, but there is a maybe decision on it by a third member. So this article will appear both in conflict and under the maybe list. So make sure before heading to full text screening or before ending your work to export the results that you resolve conflicts and you go through the maybes until you are satisfied with the decisions from all members. Now let's say we are done with screening. Let's go to full text screening. We have resolved all conflicts. We are ready for full text screening. Let's enable it. Then we'll be prompted to add the data, in which I'm going to add my included list. But you can add it from maybe or by adding one of the labeled articles. Now we have added 12 articles to the full text screening. In order to complete full text screening, you must obtain the full text PDF files, save them on your local desktop, then upload that full text PDF file and attach it to this article. So I have this PDF file. We'll wait for the upload. Now it auto-matched it. That's important. Now the PDF file is intact and available within Rayyan. Clicking on it will open the article's information in terms of full text. And you can screen articles in full text and take your decision based on full text screening. What's important to understand that these stages are separate. And as you can see, once I have added my included articles from screening to full text screening, their status has been undecided, switched to undecided, so that you are able to complete full text screening from scratch. separating it from screening. Similarly to when exporting these results, you are only exporting articles within the full text stage. Now, decisions will not be carried over from screening to full text, since you are going to take different decisions in full text. However, labels, reasons, and notes will be carried over from screening to full text screening, just to give you an idea what happened in screening and what you are going to do in full text screening. You can as well upload full text PDF files in bulk. So I have selected these three, upload, select the three files I have on my local desktop, and then continue. As you can see, I have these three files. Once they are uploaded, I'll be able to match each article with its corresponding reference. Stay tuned for the auto matcher, which is a feature under progress of development. It will basically auto match articles with their PDF files based on the titles of the PDF files and comparing that with the title of the article for an automatic way of attaching and matching each PDF file with its corresponding reference. Now, let's say we have removed articles, or let's even take it further. We have screened more articles and included, for example, these two. It will not automatically update the full text screening results, in which you can click on Add Articles again, choose Included, which is now showing 14, and the system will only include or add the two missing included articles that has not been added yet to full text screening. It will ignore any duplicates. As you can see, we have the total of 14. And as I mentioned, you can export your results in terms of full text screening, as you can see. Now, lastly, we can go back to overview and extract and create a Prisma flowchart, which is available with a premium subscription. Clicking on it will open Prisma in a different tab. Now, Prisma is semi-automated, as you can see from the results of screening. However, for example, the database where we obtained our references from is not available. At any time, you can simply just edit all information regarding your Prisma diagram to match your own, of course, Prisma information. So going back to our example, I want to include the databases. So first thing first, I need to go to main options. Under individual databases, let's switch it to included. Now we have the examples to use. We haven't obtained any article from any register, so I'm going to keep it blank. We have obtained articles from two databases, so I'm going to enter 2 as the result. And instead of these examples, I want to add the actual databases. So for example, PubMed, I have obtained 560 references. From Web of Science, I have obtained 80 references. And let's remove the rest of the example. This way, I have my data available within Prisma diagram. With each change, manual change, just make sure to download your Prisma diagram. Since, for example, if I have collapsed the Prisma diagram and closed that window, reopened it again after a while, or after it directly, you will notice that my manual changes has not been saved. So this is why make sure to download Prisma diagram in one of these supported formats. This is basically it for this webinar. I understand there is a lot to learn regarding Rayyan, but this is just to give you a head start in using Rayyan with the most and core features and functionalities that Rayyan provides. Rayyan is rapidly enhancing features and deploying new features and functionalities. And as you can see, we have not yet discussed the data extraction phase, in which it is not yet implemented for all members. So stay tuned for it. It is still under testing. It will soon be released in this upcoming month. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the Q&A box. If you have already dropped them, I will be going through them. And as I mentioned, if any question that has been answered throughout the review, I will skip it and answer those that have not been yet answered. Is there a limit to the number of articles submitted? As I mentioned first, there is no limit. The limit is 100 megabyte, the size of the file, which may contain almost 200,000 references. So with a total let's say you can upload trillions of references without exceeding the limit of 100 megabyte per file. So it depends. Does the file have to be CSV? I mean, as I mentioned, there is a lot of supported formats that Rayyan comply with. So you can upload articles in CSV, but the formatting within the CSV file should be compatible with Rayyan. You can, as I mentioned, from the Help Center, you can see the reference formats that are compatible. Additionally, you can download example files. So you can download an example CSV, compare it with your own files, and then upload your own files. If you have any issue with importing files, just submit us a support request. The free version does not allow multiple selection of duplicates. How do I select? As I mentioned, the manual way of resolving duplicates does not include selecting duplicates. So I need to select one of them and resolve the duplicates that are part of that group. But with a premium membership, you can automate this way. Is it possible to resolve the duplicates on EndNote or Mendeley and then import them already resolved? Of course, you can do that, but we always recommend, even if you have resolved duplicates within EndNote and Mendeley, to detect them in Rayyan. So Rayyan might detect more duplicates that have not been detected by EndNote or Mendeley. Is the AI trained separately for each reviewer? I believe you are mentioning the AI in terms of ratings. The good thing is not no. It will take in collaborative reviews, the ratings feature will take into consideration all decisions by all members on all of the articles that have been screened. So for example, if you have reviewed 40 articles, your other member reviewed 20 different articles. So in combination, 60 total of different articles have been screened. You can run the compute ratings feature in which the system will take into consideration both decisions from both members. After I have reviewed the first 50 required articles for screening, how many should I review? It is recommended to, for instance, analyze the suggested included and only the first 20 or 50 of the excluded. As I mentioned, you can, depends on the data set you have. So if you have a large data set, let's say more than 100 references, definitely you need more than 1,000 articles to be screened for the system to be able to rely on the decisions you have taken to compare them with the undecided articles and provide ratings. But if you have, let's say, 1,000 articles, you can take 50 as the minimum requirement, see the ratings after the computation and calculation, then go back and take more decisions. You can take 10 more decisions, rerun the compute ratings, see the ratings, take more decisions, rerun, see the ratings, etc. The more decisions you take, the more accurate the ratings will be. The recording of this webinar will be sent to all registrants of this session. Thank you. What happens during the deduplication process if I use the DOI criterion and neither articles has a DOI? None will be deleted, as I mentioned. If there is a field missing, it needs to be an exact match. What I mean by exact match, that both articles need to have the same exact match in terms of the criteria you have chose. If a slight difference is available, it will not resolve the duplicate. It will not even keep one and delete the other, or it will keep both and will still consider them as duplicates. The journal item includes the volume and pages, as well as the journal itself. If the journal is the same, but the pages are different, this item will not be recognized as a duplicate, right? It will be recognized as a duplicate, and it might need a manual resolution. Since the system is high, let's say taking the duplicates in high priority, so it's an important data you don't want to miss. This is why we provide you with the resolve duplicates manually and automatically. And with the automatic way, we always make sure to use exact matches so that such cases will not be resolved with the duplicates. But in other ways, it is important to resolve these duplicates before heading to screen. What if I have a professional account, but the reviewers do not? I believe I mentioned this in the beginning of the webinar. Even if you have a professional account, that doesn't mean the access to certain features and functionalities, paid features and functionalities will be passed to other members that are participating within your review. Additionally, as reviewers, all right, so in terms of Pico, they will be able to see the Pico highlighting. However, they will not be able to filter by Pico. Change the type of access. I believe I have also answered that. Yes, you can change the type of access for each member from collaborator to reviewer and vice versa from the overview page. As I mentioned previously, here is how you can do it. I switched it easily from reviewer to collaborator and vice versa. Is it possible to highlight text in a paper during screening similar to the highlighting function in Word? I'm not sure I understand you. In screening, we do highlight keywords. So you can add keywords, for example, text, add it to the keywords for include or exclude, and it will be highlighted depending on the text, whether it is a keyword for include or exclude. But using the search bar will not highlight these keywords. Can I add more files to include and exclude? Maybe. No, you can't directly add files to these lists. So you haven't reviewed them, so you cannot add them. So how you can add more files, you can go back to the review.stage, add references. Once they are added, you can go back to screening, filter by the search method, so the new file that you have imported, and then complete screening for it. I believe I answered what's the difference between a collaborator and reviewer. You can watch the recording again once we have sent it to you. Indeed, you will be notified when the data extraction is released. Can I use keywords for include and exclude at the same time, or do you need to choose? You can, of course. So just a quick example, I can choose all keywords from the keywords for include and all keywords, for example, from keywords for exclude. You can choose a combination of cohort, for example, and keyword 3. It works. Are the suggestions from Rayyan on exclude the articles after the 50 screened ones ordered by more luckily? It will be ordered by not more luckily, more likely to be excluded or included. So is it relevant to your exclusion criteria? Is it relevant to your inclusion criteria? Based on this relevancy, it will show you the most relevant one for exclusion and the most relevant one for inclusion. And they will be represented in thumbs up and thumbs down. Let me show you just quickly. So let me share this tab. So you can see here, it is showing the articles with most likely to exclude with 2 thumbs down. One thumb down means likely to exclude, and similarly to inclusion. As you can see, this is likely to include, which is less than most likely to include. So you can think of it as a 5-star relevancy rate, 5 stars meaning most likely to include, 1 star meaning most likely to exclude. I'm going to answer the last 2 questions and the webinar right here since we have passed the time limit. So I had 100 articles, I resolved 5 duplicates, but it didn't show 5. It showed 19 duplicates deleted. Why? I assumed it counted additional information like notes, etc. Is that the reason? I'm not sure exactly what you mean, unless I have taken a look. But just to confirm, resolving 5 duplicates does not mean exactly 5 duplicates. So you can resolve 5 duplicates, but these 5 duplicates have 15 versions each. So for example, this one, if I click resolve, notice how many possible duplicates it has. It has 8 within the same group. So if I went through them all of them, this is why maybe you have seen 19 as deleted. But anyways, if you are still believing this has not answered your question, provide us with the review title or link and a screenshot of the duplicates you have resolved. We'll be more than happy to help you by sending a support request to our team. Sorry, as I mentioned previously, for example, this specific duplicate contains 8 versions of it. So you need to go through them one by one. It doesn't mean that this is one duplicate. It means they have 8 versions. Now, once you delete them all or resolve them all, the system would show you a different number in the deleted and different number in resolved. But if this is not the case, as I mentioned, provide us with the information and a support request. And last question, do you have a sample example of extracted data that we can see? For now, not. We still haven't taken anything from the production team regarding data extraction, but soon it will be released, as well as a Help Center article will be definitely released with an announcement in which you can basically test it and check it out once it is released. So again, thank you everyone for joining today's session. It's been my pleasure to provide you with all insights about Rayyan. Of course, it's a high learning curve, so there is a lot to learn with Rayyan. The more you use it, the more confidence you will be. And of course, if you still require any help, everything has been answered throughout the Help Center article, so you can check out the Help Center. And if you are still facing any issue, you can submit a support request in which we will be providing you with all the insights you need. Thank you again, everyone. Have a good day, good night, or good evening, depending where you are in the world. And of course, we wish you happy reviewing and happy